Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Voice of the Hammer. I'm your host, Bunta Kuth. On this episode, I'm going to be sitting and talking with a local hip hop artist. He goes by the name of KTriggs. You may have seen me share some of his stuff. He just had a festival called 905 Fest. If you guys were there, I'm sure he appreciates you guys coming. Yeah, we were there. We checked it out. We saw all the local talents. I mean, what a great fest that he puts on. In support of the Living Rock here in Hamilton, supporting the youth. I don't know if it's troubled youth. I don't know, guys. I'm going to talk to him and find out a little bit more. But we're just going to sit, talk, and see how it goes. Check it out.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, what's happening?
Not too much. Yourself?
Not too much, just hanging out. How's your weekend going?
Oh, it's going good. I got my dog here. We're chilling out. I got not too much going on. I got to work a little bit this weekend, but it's good to get some time to relax.
Yeah.
Usually during the day, I just chill out. I had a studio session around noon today with Cody James at Just Vibes Recording Studio. So shout out to Cody.
Nice.
Yeah. Have you heard of Cody James?
I don't think so. I might have. Have you had him on one of your tracks at all? Because I've been.
No, he hasn't been on any of my tracks or any of my shows, but he's a local artist. He's put out some music, but he's more so doing engineering now.
Okay.
He's engineered some artists like James Favaron, Guava, and he's working with a bunch of different artists too, from what I've heard.
Nice. So you're working on some new tracks or what?
Yeah, I'm working on a bunch of new tracks. Like I just put up the Community Over Competition project, right?
Right.
So I'm just kind of working on some stuff for the future, planting seeds. And Mills Grills, who's a producer here in Hamilton, he made the Freedom of Speech Cypher 2.0.
Yeah.
Shout out Mills Grills. That was my most recent music video that I just dropped in April. So Mills produced this other beat and he sent it to me. So this is it's totally your vibe. So I got it off him and I had to hit the studio and I got this really energetic track coming.
Nice. How long did it take to do the Community Over Competition one?
Well, that one took a while because honestly, we were originally I had developed more tracks and then about 18 months in total. So I scaled it back because in 2022, I was doing a lot more events.
Yeah.
And then I was also in the process of developing this Community Over Competition project. So after I dropped my debut album called Mistakes in 2021, I wanted to come back with something that really expressed my brand, which is freedom of speech, entertainment, and community over competition. So I was like, if I can make a project that encompasses kind of what I'm all about and like my story as well as my brand, that is the focus, to make it kind of larger than just the individual. And so we worked really hard, myself, Know My Music, the producer, Because Design Matters, who does all like the logo design, graphic design.
I watch all his stuff. I watch all his stuff on Instagram. That's is that Brody or what's his name?
Yeah, his name's Because Design Matters or Brody. Yeah, but he does all like the freedom of speech graphics, all the 905 Fest graphics, all my personal graphics for my music, and like the album covers. And like we actually just recently launched our own collaborative brand, the Community Over Competition clothing line.
Right. Oh, nice. Okay,
Yes.
So he's the one that created all the design, or he designed all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, so we collaboratively come up with the ideas, and then he helps me put it into visualization. Like I had this concept for Community Over Competition to use the duality symbol, which is kind of where that to use the duality symbol, but use Community Over Competition to express that.
Right.
So it doesn't actually need to say Community Over Competition. It just you see Community Over Competition.
Right. That's pretty cool. So how long you been doing, because freedom of speech entertainment, right? That's what how long have you been doing that?
So actually, I started making music in 2018. First started kind of coming on the scene, doing like basically what I first started doing was like going out to shows and like watching other guys.
Yeah.
And like kind of like kind of just supporting them, and then like they have like little ciphers here and there that I jump in on, because I always used to like love freestyling, and then I kind of got more into it. I was like, yo, I'm actually like I'm actually enjoying this.
Yeah.
So then I got on a couple shows, you know, like a couple smaller shows like The Doors and like Casbah as like an opener for guys. And then in 2019, in 2018, I actually did my first like my own event.
Yeah.
I hosted my first underground vibe show, but at that point I hadn't established my label yet because I wasn't sure the direction I wanted to go. And then once I finished that, I was like, you know what, I could do this, because we did our first show at my neighborhood bar and grill. I hosted it. It was a pretty small show.
Yeah.
You know, maybe like 50 people, 45, 50 people, pretty small, but still cool. You know, this was like years ago now. It's 2018, so that's 5 years ago now. And then so in 2019, I came back with this idea that I wanted to host a festival, host a way to kind of involve the community and make like a free event for people to come out to and enjoy hip hop, and also like give back to the community in some ways. Because I grew up, you know, in a different way than a lot of people did. You know, I spent a lot of time on my own because I moved out when I was 14 years old, and I was homeless for like a decent amount of time. You know, not too long, but a short period of time, you know, during my life. And that's like, you know, I was living on the street, or I was surfing on friends' couches or whatever, but that still is homeless, like regardless of how you want to put it. I didn't have somewhere permanent to live. And then when I was like 15, I started figuring out how like to like navigate that world and like, you know, get my own spot and, you know, start living on my own. But that's kind of like why my story is so important to me, and why it's so important to me to do the festival and have an event like that that gives back and creates awareness for at-risk youth. So the reason for Freedom of Speech Entertainment in 2019, the reason why I established it then was because I was doing the festival. So it was a good jumping off point to be like, this is my festival, this is my brand, and this festival is like kind of like the culmination after a whole year of doing like shows and events and performing. I give you this festival, which is a free event for everybody to attend, and you know, anybody can enjoy it.
Right. And so has that always been in support of the Living Rock? Because I guess that's a place that you used as well when you were, I guess, homeless and stuff.
Yeah, I definitely have used their food bank and like to help me out in times of need, even like the last like couple of years, like not even like that long ago. You know what I mean? Like they're a very helpful place, and they offer a lot more programs than that, like their Try Rock program, when they work with young adults to help young adults like in different situations. But yeah, there's a lot of the Dame, and like, you know, there's a lot of other places that I could have chosen. Originally I had the first festival, we actually involved Kiwanis Boys and Girls Club, because I used to volunteer there as a helper when I was younger. And then I decided to choose Living Rock because Living Rock, unlike Kiwanis, is like you know, it's not a government funded organization. Like they get a lot of their funding from you know, private resources and donations and whatnot, whereas Kiwanis gets a lot of government sanctioned funding. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that.
No.
I'm just saying it's the amount of availability and awareness that you create. Like Kiwanis already has a bunch of people doing stuff for them. So that was kind of my idea around Living Rock. I was like, this center does more, and if not different things, maybe not more, but different things than what like Kiwanis does. But they offer similar programs and encourage youth awareness and encourage youth in the community to want to get involved. And that's kind of the direction I was leaning with. Like, you know, we're starting to involve them. We get them involved in the hip hop and the music, and then we could start to encourage them to want to be part of the music, right? And that's kind of what we did this year with bringing that young man out on stage. He's about 15 years old. That was his first time performing, and he had a great time, right? So,
well, I was watching some of his stuff on YouTube. He's got a few videos out, which is really cool. But so that was JP's first time performing in front of a crowd.
I think so. So basically what had happened was some people at the hub connected with me about getting him on stage, and I was like, you know what, I can definitely work my schedule and see if I can get him a small spot to do one or two songs, like, you know, because they wanted to give him an opportunity and they want to encourage him to pursue his dream. And I think that's great. So I want to definitely be someone who can positively impact the community that way. And that's very important to me. And especially to my label and my vision and the direction I want to go. So yeah, the main goal was to bring him on the stage. And from what they said, that was his, like, he's performed at the hub before and at the Living Rock, and like he performs for people individually, but that was his first time being able to get on a stage, you know, in the public eye.
In the public eye. Oh, okay, that's cool. Yeah, where he's sort of not around his crew of people. No, that's good. That's good. And so the 905 Fest. So obviously you've got your voice back. You were screaming quite a bit because you were there all night. you were still telling your story, you're still screaming out loud. Like, I thought you would have lost your voice by now, but I guess you're used to that kind of screaming and just hyping everyone up.
Yeah, it's part of my like especially some of my friends, like, yo, shout out James Faveron, good
Yeah.
friend of mine. He always tells me to use Kevin. The mic is to project your voice. That's what the microphone's for.
Yeah.
Let the microphone do the work.
Right.
And I'm like, yeah, but like, yeah, okay, I could let the microphone do the work, but I get caught up in the moment sometimes,
Yeah,
and
for
I just
sure.
like any person, I'm very passionate about what I do,
Yeah.
and that's sometimes what it sometimes gets the better of me
Yeah.
in the moment. Like, it doesn't necessarily make it a bad thing. There's just time and a place
Yeah.
for
Well,
that type of reaction.
have you ever lost your voice from doing that?
Oh yeah, plenty of times. I lost my voice that day. Like, by the end of the day, I
Yeah.
really had a hard time speaking. But it's still my job to host the show.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go up there and put my best effort forward
Yeah.
regardless.
Well, and
So
that's the
that's
thing.
just who I am.
I feel like that's kind of your personality too. It's not like something you can just switch off. You know what I mean? Like, that's
No.
you. That's Kevin. That's KTriggs. Doesn't matter. It's you're the same person either way.
Yeah, and that's kind of like what a lot of people like. They come to realize eventually once they've seen me on stage a handful of times. Like, that's why when I act like that, nobody seems surprised.
Yeah.
Everyone's just like, yeah,
That's
that's
just
KTriggs
yeah.
for you.
Yeah.
And that's just who I am. And that's, again, like, that's my favorite thing about being an event host and doing those type of events. Because, like, the argument people would make is maybe, I'm a much better event host and an organizer than I am a rapper.
Right.
And, like, I could see that argument being made, and I'm not disputing it. And I'm not saying it could or could not be true. Everyone has their own opinion.
Right.
But I feel like the energy that I bring to the events, because I'm hosting it, because I'm the way that I am, is why people come out and why they want to be a part of it.
Oh,
If
for
I
sure.
didn't act that way, they might not be as encouraged to be involved and come out, because maybe they would shy away from it.
Yeah. Well, with this recent fest that you just had, I think we were talking before, but what is there anything you'd want to change or improve on for the next? I mean, I'm guessing you're going to try to plan another one for next year as well, right?
Oh, 100%. I'm already working on plans for 905 Fest 2024. I'm already laying the groundwork. It's a long process.
Yeah.
Like last year, like, again, I started planning the festival that just took place last week, like around the same time last year.
Okay.
So, like, it took me all a year to plan it. And I've planned it in a few months before. Like, the very first festival I did,
Oh,
I
really?
planned it in like 30 days. But again, like, you learn and you grow and you figure out what works for you, what doesn't. And it's like a whole process. People have asked me before, like, how do you host a festival? I'm like, yo, Google it.
Yeah.
And they kind of laugh, like, what do you mean Google it? I'm like, that's what I did.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. You didn't have
started
anybody
it.
to show you the ropes or anything.
Not really. Like, I have people now that I ask questions to, and I have mentors and people that I can confide in with questions now, because I've gained those networks and those connections. But originally, when I first started, no, it was just go out there and figure out how it works and then make it happen.
Right.
And then I did. That's what I did. And then once I did it the first time, I was able to figure out how to do it better the second time, better the third time, and even better now the fourth time.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, the fifth time, there are definitely, like, so when you ask me if there are things I would change.
Yeah. Or like improve, or what would you want to do?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's nothing that, like, there are always ways to improve to make the whole event process go smoother and better. Like, some of the examples include having more volunteers, or having more time between sets so artists can, take down on stage, having more DJs so there's more spread out between acts, having different type of acts, like more dancers and things like that. There are lots of things that me and my team have noted for next year. And there are things that we're working on developing. But overall, like, the idea of how the festival is presented and it being geared towards youth,
Right.
encouraging youth and music and bringing arts and the community together, that will never change.
Mm.
The festival will always be about that, and it will always be free.
Yeah.
It's my hope and my goal, not my hope, my goal is to make it so that it can always be free for admission. People will always be able to come and attend. Maybe you might not have a lot of money, so you might not be able to buy from the vendors and stuff that are there, because they are rather expensive.
Yeah.
But I always want it to remain free for admission, so people can come and enjoy live music.
Yeah. So I mean, even if let's say the festival gets larger, like you said, your goal is to have it free. So if it ever came a point where you had to charge people because of the space, would you ever consider getting a different, like, just basically going to a park where it is free, you just have to get like permission? Like, would you rather it be free?
Well, so no, I would rather put out of my own pocket for a permit so that it can be free. Because then once I pay for the permit, I can make it free.
Yeah.
Because that's the whole point of it, right? And it's a permit really isn't that expensive for one day. Like I'm not going to divulge the price, but it's not thousands of dollars.
Right.
It's not. It's actually relatively considerably cheap for the amount of time that you get to use the park for. And like now that I've expanded, like this is not the first festival I did, right? This is the fourth festival I've done. So it's expanding more. Like this year we had about 20 or more vendors. We had about 16 different performers.
Yeah.
And then we had, a whole bunch of other like activities and stuff like that going down. So there was a lot for people to do.
Yeah.
And next year I'm already working on how I expand that.
Okay.
Make it more engaging for not only the youth, but for the people in the community as well.
Okay. Yeah, because you seem to, like, when we were there for, I think, early afternoon, but it seemed you just had like an act one after the other. So did you keep that pace all night?
Yeah, pretty much. There was 16 performances in total.
Okay.
And there was 2 DJ sets, one at the beginning, one at the end.
Right.
But I would like to, in the future, I'm gonna split things up in categories. I want to include more dance performances. Like I said, I want to split it up and let the DJs have a larger featured set so that they can be more featured in the event, because DJs are very important and they're a big part of what we do.
Right.
As performers and as artists, it's great to have DJs that give you a break and have their talent as well. So it's just a matter of tweaking little things and adding little things as we grow. Like, okay, so last year we had about 100 people, maybe 200 people attend the festival throughout the day.
Right.
This year we probably had about 1,000 people attend.
Right.
So that is a 10 times growth.
Mm-hmm.
So and that comes from me and my team putting in our effort. Like I have the same team now as I had last year.
Right.
And I did all the same stuff as I did last year, just putting in more effort behind the scenes and working and making connections. Because I'm the one I get all the sponsors, I get all the vendors, I get all the performers.
Yeah. So you're doing all the footwork.
I do a lot of the footwork, but I have a good team that works with me. Chris Prince, is a big hand and all that, like working with me to help organize the stage and set everything up. And I have a great team of people that help out, create the sound. Like the sound was fantastic on Sunday. It sounded very great.
Oh,
and that's a testament to Long and McQuaid, our sponsor, but also a testament to our sound team.
Right.
Stefan and Kristen and Mason, and they all did a really great job, working with the artists and giving them the best result.
Right.
Which is that's not something I have time to do.
No. You let the people, obviously, wherever their forte lands, right? And
well, one of my mentors told me that, what a good businessman does is he hires people who are smarter than him.
Yeah. Yeah, because I mean, could you imagine doing any of that all by yourself? Like that'd just be too much. Yeah.
And even people see the amount of effort I put in, and they're like, "Holy hell, how do you manage to do all these things?" And in my opinion, there's nothing that's beneath me. I would never ask someone to do something that I wouldn't do myself.
Right.
As the leader and as someone who's supposed to be like if we're looking at the festival, I'm the top, I'm the leader, and then everybody else kind of follows suit. Then I should be the person working the hardest, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Then I set the example for everybody else. If I'm out there dicking around, my language, if I'm out there dicking around and not doing what I'm supposed to, everybody else isn't going to feel like they're supposed to be doing it either. And it inspires people that work with me because they see me work hard and I gotta match that energy. I don't expect anyone to.
Yeah. Is 905 Fest one of your biggest projects of each year? Like, obviously you need time to make music, which you are still doing. So how do you balance everything? Like, how do you, because like you said, you just finished a studio session, but how do you find that balance between working on your craft and spending time on 905 Fest and stuff like that?
That's a really good question. That's something I suffer with a lot, and finding that balance is a big part about this new project I'm working on. A lot of the songs have a lot to do with that concept, and me working in a search for because at the point I'm at now, 905 Fest being where it is and the position I'm in, if I truly grow it, I can really make a staple event in the city of Hamilton that people look forward to.
Right.
And that kind of falls on my shoulders. And I know that sounds arrogant, but it kind of falls on my shoulders to not let people down.
Yeah.
And to make sure I step it up every year and I rise to the occasion every year. And there's a little bit of pressure that comes with that, but I also thrive under pressure. That's something I enjoy being thrown in the fire because I work better under pressure and I work better under fire. But at the same time, it's now what do I have to sacrifice if I want to propel the 905 Fest, and I want to make the 905 Fest this pinnacle and event, entertainment, hip hop music festival in Hamilton, what will I have to sacrifice?
Right.
And that's something that I'm trying to come to terms with still. I'm still haven't found that balance yet. So I think, and that's something that like some of my mentors have told me is like finding that focus and shifting directly towards what it is I want in life. Now, for me, I feel like with KTriggs and with the music I create, I can propel the festival to the next level.
Right.
Using my music. Like, if you notice, I'm not the headline act
at
my festival.
Yeah.
Most people, I would say most people, if they did a festival like that, they would put themselves as the headline act.
Right.
That's not what I'm about.
No,
That's
no.
not my goal.
No.
I'm the host. I'm the organizer. The idea of my charisma and what I do is what I want people to draw into listening to my music. Like, wow, look at this guy. He hosted this whole event. He's putting everybody else on. I want to hear what he has to rap about.
Right.
And that's kind of the idea, is what I'm hoping that my music and the positivity and the story behind it is what encourages people to want to be a part of events like 905 Fest. Because you can hear about 905 Fest and be like, okay, cool, that sounds cool, but why?
Mm-hmm.
And then you hear me and you hear my story and you hear me up there telling my story, and that's what makes you feel interested in it. That's what drives you, like, wow, this is something I want to be a part of.
Yeah. Well, and you got quite the crew behind you as well. Like again, James Favron. I miss their act. I miss his act. I miss Smoothie Lou. But I think, are you going to do anything at the Supercrawl at all? I know Smoothie Lou's been practicing, because I think he.
Yeah.
But
Smoothie didn't perform at 905 Fest, but he was there.
I thought he did. I thought he was gonna do something. Okay.
No, he was just there watching the event as a supporter. Smoothie's a great supporter. And yeah, I will be at Supercrawl on the 7th, 8th, and 10th, but I'll actually be working at Supercrawl.
Oh, what are you going to be doing?
I'm going to be helping out the team with some, like just working with their team, doing like takedown and stuff, helping them set up and whatnot. You know, I'm well connected. Like, I know I have some connections at the Sonic Onion, which is the label that runs Supercrawl. And last year I helped them out, and they were pretty happy with my performance. So they asked me to return again this year and give them a hand.
Nice. So you're also, you've been working on some stuff in Toronto, you said.
Yeah.
So what's going on down there?
So recently I've been doing some work at Object Studios.
Okay.
It's like a creative, it's like a multi-maker creative space. They do more content. It's a studio, but they do more content and like weddings and those type of events. It's more very I guess the word is visually appealing.
Okay.
And it's not like a music space. They don't have like a recording studio or anything. But I've been doing some work there with them, and I've been talks with them for the last few months about taking over an event coordinator position.
Nice.
But like so that's kind of something that we've been in the works. Like, I haven't fully announced anything like that. Right. So, you know, I haven't made it public, but I did post a little picture the other day on Instagram of me at the studio kind of planning something, because I'm planning an event there later this month that I will hopefully be announcing. My plan is to announce it on Monday.
Okay.
Monday or Tuesday. I'm working with my team diligently right now to get all the material together. And I went to school in Toronto, right? Okay. So it's been a goal of mine for a few years to work up to hosting an event there. So now that if I kind of start there, that kind of helps me get my foot in the door a little bit in the city of Toronto.
Right.
I've done a few shows out there, but not that many. I did one show out there in July of this year, which is like the most recent Toronto show I've done. I haven't done too many at all. So I'm trying to get my foot in the door a little more out there, meet some more artists, because I went to school out there, so I have some connections. But because I live in Hamilton, I've been very focused on Hamilton, because I feel like artists from Hamilton like to be like, oh yeah, I'm a Toronto rapper, when they're not a Toronto rapper. Yeah. And it's like, that's cool. You don't have to rep your city if you don't want to rep your city. But that's me. I'm gonna rep my city because that's where I'm from.
How do you feel when you do perform in Toronto opposed to Hamilton? Do you find it different? Like, do you find your energy any different when you're in Toronto?
Honestly, I haven't done enough shows in Toronto to really give you like the full rundown on that. Once I have my event on this month, I'll really get you some feedback on that, and I'll let you know how it feels. Because obviously that'll be a real different thing, because it'll be a freedom of speech entertainment event, and it'll be the first one I've ever done out there. And so I'm really excited for that. It'll be definitely related to community over competition. There'll be some artists from 905 Fest involved, not too many, but one or two maybe you'll see, and some brand new artists from Toronto that I've never brought out on my bills before.
Right. So now freedom of speech entertainment sounds like a mouthful. How, like, that's your brand? That's your, is it a record label? Not a record label. Or like, what is
Yeah,
it?
it's a production label.
Okay.
It's a record label / production label. So Freedom of Speech Entertainment is the company or the umbrella under which KTriggs releases all of his music and events.
Okay.
So Freedom of Speech Entertainment is the label, KTriggs is the artist, and Community Over Competition is the message.
Mm-hmm. Nice. And how long have you had that going? Freedom of Speech.
Since 2019 was when I actually officially started it.
Okay, that's pretty cool. And like, must be like, is it just you, or do you have like partners or?
So for the company itself, it's just me. Like I own Freedom of Speech Entertainment as a sole proprietorship, and then I have team members. So my producer is like, these people don't work for Freedom of Speech Entertainment; they work with Freedom of Speech Entertainment. So because Design Matters, Know My Music, Mason Mascourt, Sound of the North Studios, we work directly together. They work with me on my music, help me to create my vision, but they don't work for me; they work with me, and that's the big misconception that some people think is like, they're on my team in a sense where they work with me, but they also work with plenty of other people. It's not an exclusive thing like that.
Oh, okay. That's pretty cool. Well, there was something else I wanted to ask you about. Oh, we were watching your music video the other day. I don't know if you remember, but it was the first cipher.
Oh, yes.
You guys were recording it. You guys were recording inside that basketball court. And somebody came up to talk to you. They said something to you. Do you remember what happened there? Because it was a quick blurb in the video.
Sir?
Get our like 60 seconds.
60 minutes, cause I'm gone in 60 seconds. Used to wait outside, but now I'm checking off the guest list. Here to make a mess of the message is my investment. Welcome to the nexus, in essence of someone reckless. Collective of my oppressors, just learning from all the pressures. A chef when it come to recipes, what I'm cooking is equity. Y'all want the drive-through when the food for thought's a necessity. Earning my stripes, shoddy, and I ain't be no referee. Set at my table, set for a battle. Brought my pen and a pad out. Never judge a jury, as a lawyer I dabbled. Falling out his tree, still I'm far from an apple.
Yeah, okay, so we were recording there, and it's like that's like kind of an old area where like they shut it down, and like because of a lot of like there's a lot of, I think there's termites and like that. The city condemned it, and so they bought out all the people who were living there. But I guess there was some lady that was still living there, and she came over and she was like, she's telling us we were trespassing on private property, and I was like, oh, and she's like, I was like, can we just get like 60 seconds and then we'll leave? And she was like, no, I'm gonna go inside and call the cops. And I'm like, oh damn it, like okay. So I walk over to my friends and like just get our 60 seconds and then we'll go.
Yeah.
And then like we just shot like a quick little shot. We were already there for like at least 20 minutes or so.
Yeah.
But still, yeah, she was just not happy that we were shooting out there and making a ruckus, I guess. We were on an abandoned basketball court where no one was playing. But, I understand it is private property and, you're entitled to not want us trespassing there.
Yeah. No, I was just watching and I caught a glimpse and yeah, you came to the camera and you said, let's get 60 seconds.
Yeah, just get your 60 seconds. Let's go. I tried to, because I just wanted to be fast about it. I was like, I really don't want us to get arrested for shooting a music video here. Like, it looked cool, but no, I'm not really down for that.
Yeah, yeah. How long does it take? Like, because there's obviously multiple shots. I guess with the Cypher 2.0, you guys were down at the park, and you guys were down at City Hall. How long? Like, how much planning and stuff does that take for you guys to shoot? Like, is it a one-day thing?
We shot it in one day, yes, but like you don't plan. Like I didn't plan it in one day. I started planning it in so I connected with Mills Grills in like October. Hey, sorry, my dog is.
It's all right.
Stop that. I connected with Mills Grills in like probably October about making a beat for me. And that was I was like, yo, man, like I'd like to do a Freedom Speech Cypher 2.0 because we hadn't done one since the original.
Right.
And I thought that was really cool. And with the lead up to my new album, Community Over Competition, and the next 905 Fest, I was like, this is very on brand for Freedom of Speech Entertainment and for KTriggs.
Right.
So I decided let's do a Freedom of Speech Entertainment Cypher, and then we'll go from there. So I wanted to do like a more polished version of the Cypher. So that's why I chose specific artists. And so I reached out to Mills Grills in like October. And I was like, hey, man, like you got I'd like to get you on the Cypher because he's been doing a lot of stuff with Steel City Cypher and like, with Self-Made and whatnot. So I was like, you know what? He's got the vibe that I would enjoy. So we chatted about it. He kind of sent me some stems. And by January, I had my own 16 that I sent out to a couple different artists,
right.
Being LT the Monk, James Faveron, Flozis, Murr. And I asked them if they'd be interested in jumping on the song,
right.
And they all were very, very obliged. So in that process of like, it took us to go to the studio, get things recorded.
Right, get all the recording,
I made
yeah.
a mask for it, Sound of the North. And so that whole process took from like January to April when we actually released it.
Okay.
But we recorded the video in probably February, like late February, early March.
Nice. Yeah, well, I mean, it's great to see, like, the videos looked really good. Obviously, it's nice to see, you know, you guys repping Hamilton and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, so I don't know. I was gonna keep you on a little bit longer, but it looks like you're getting a little tied up with your dog right now.
Oh no, it's just cool. You can keep asking questions.
Oh, okay. No, I'm just gonna talk to you. Just basically pick your brain about everything that you're doing and your projects and stuff. Because you, like you said, you were. I know we're kind of jumping all over the place, but you said you moved out or you were homeless in a sense at the age of 14, right? So I think I heard the speech where you were living in even the GO stations and stuff.
Yeah, like I stayed at the GO station for a little while because when I moved out, it was like I was like 14 years old and like I really didn't have much places to go. So like I kind of just like I stayed on the street wherever I could. And like I was the kind of guy where I didn't really want to go to like a center or like a whatchamacallit, like a shelter.
Right.
You know, I kind of felt like I was too proud in some regards. I was like, I need to, you know, do something else.
Right.
So I went out and I was trying to work and trying to provide for myself so I could make money and and pay my bills and live on my own. And that's kind of how I did. I went and started living in a student house and, you know, I was like paying like $300 a month so I could have a room.
Right.
And then I went to high school and I worked at like Tim Hortons on the side. But like, yeah, I slept in the GO Center for like a couple nights because I really didn't have anywhere to go. And then I started sleeping out front of my school. And then the school janitor was nice enough to let me like stay in the school. And then one of my friends that I went to school with, like he found out about that and he was nice enough to like bring me to his house and he let me stay with him. And that's how I got the student room because he had a student room and he brought me and then introduced me to his landlord who was like, oh, you need a room too? Here, I'll rent you this other room. And that's kind of how I started to live on my own when I was like 14, 15 years old.
Okay. And then what?
Yeah.
And then how long did it take you to kind of, so once you got into that student room, everything seemed to be okay? Like you were obviously working and paying bills and stuff and you were off the streets after that or what?
I was off the streets, but again, I was still living on my own. So it was very difficult to like manage to go to school because I was going to school like during the day and then having to work in the evening and then balance that. Obviously, I wasn't doing music at that point. Like I loved to freestyle. I've always kind of been a freestyler.
Yeah.
I did that for fun, but like I didn't really take myself seriously at that point at all, right? So when it came down to it, I just really focused on working and I didn't really even go to school. I just did my work and went home to like, you know, go to work. Yeah. Did my schoolwork, went home to go to work, and my teachers understood and stuff. But so I kind of hopped around like from like living rooms to like rooming house to rooming house until I got to about the age of 18 where I could have like a full-time job and like I was done high school. And I didn't go to university right away because I obviously couldn't afford it. And I wasn't in a position to do that just because I was like, you know what, I got to work. Yeah. I got to make money. So I worked, you know, different jobs, just different type of labor jobs, construction jobs, in my like late teens, like 16 to like 18, you know what I mean? I spent some time in Toronto for a bit. You know, I kind of went all over the place. And then when I got to like 19, 20, I kind of started to settle down more and like have a more consistent job. I was working the same job for like a little while, like a factory. And then when I turned in my early 20s, you know, I'm 26 now. So like when I was like 20, like 5 years ago, about 21, I really decided to push and pursue music. Yeah. And that was the big goal for me. I was like, you know, that's what I want to do with my life. That makes me happy. You know, I could sit around and work at a factory all the time, but I'm never going to be like truly happy.
No. And so doing music, making music is basically your craft. That's what you want to do.
Well, and that's even the guy, my boss at the factory at the time, I'll always respect him for that. He was like, dude, if you're not happy here, like, don't stay here. Like, don't waste your life here. He's like, if you love music and that's what you want to do with your time, he's like, you go do that. He's like, don't let anybody stop you. He's like, don't stay here just because of a paycheck. You know what I mean? Yeah. Don't stay here just because of a paycheck.
How is working for that other company in Toronto, is that going to affect anything for you here in Hamilton or?
I don't think so. Like if the shifts are pretty like, it's not like every single day that I'm there or anything like that. It's more like on a need basis. Okay. Right. So as a needed basis, it's like every once, twice a week. So that doesn't really affect too much of what I'm doing here. I think if anything, it'll better it because then it's like I'm doing stuff out there. And then when I finally come back here, you get an opportunity to see me, you know? Yeah. If I'm busy doing stuff out there all the time, you know, like for like the last couple of years, I've been doing shows every month here in Hamilton. So it's like you can see me fucking whenever.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, I'm not saying it wears out its welcome, but it becomes oversaturated to some degree.
Yeah.
And people be like, oh, I've seen you already. It's like seeing the same show over and over again, right?
Yeah.
And that's you don't want that, right? You want to have variety and balance, like we were talking about. So having some stuff outside of the city that I can do kind of keeps me busy.
Yeah.
And also gets me out of my comfort zone too.
Right.
Because I'm used to being in Hamilton. I feel good in Hamilton.
Yeah.
I'm pretty popular here. People know who I am.
Yeah.
I go to Toronto, nobody has any clue who I am. I've kind of gotta earn my place, you know. I kind of gotta show out a little harder.
Yeah. So what do you do for what do you call it? When you write your lyrics and stuff, like where do you find your inspiration, I guess? Like, is it always life experiences, or do you kind of tap into other things?
Honestly, most of the time it's life experiences and telling the story. You know what I mean? Like, I love to freestyle, so I'm a big guy for that. So I get in the booth and I freestyle about whatever's like kind of on my mind, whatever's going on my mind lately. You know, like I wrote a new song lately, and it's like the whole impression of the song is like I got my head above the water, like I'm kind of treading water, so to speak. And that sounds weird. It sounds like I'm drowning, but it's the idea that even when you're successful and you're doing well, people don't see the things that weigh on you.
Yeah. They only see what's above the surface. They don't see anything underneath. Yeah.
That's right. And it's kind of like the expression of like, even though like I see the success and I see the fruits of my labor, I see how far I've come, I'm still only so satisfied with that. And I'm looking at it like, oh, how do I build on this and continue building on it?
Mm-hmm.
Right. And that's a big thing. It's like, instead of like, I'm the type of person, I don't like to get complacent with things. I like to continue to push and continue to strive for more.
Cool. Now, how soon are we going to hear what you got in works now?
I'm not sure yet, because I want to release something, but I'm still promoting the Community Over Competition project.
Right.
And I got some cool promotion coming for that.
Nice.
And I got some events coming that are related to the project. So I'm definitely going to release those first. So I'm aiming for late part of the year, December, early January, to bring something new. And I think it'll be a single, because it'll be a solo KTriggs track, which I think will be super cool. And this will be something different that people won't really expect from me.
So how long were you working on Community Over Competition? How long?
About 18 months in total.
Okay.
Yeah, it took me a while to work on that one. That one was really important to me, to take my time and really develop the songs to have to have a proper vibe and to fit the message that I was going for. Like, each song is really different and individual in its own way. Yeah. And each song really expresses, you know, my music and my energy and my vocals in like a different variety of every other song that I've done. And that's, for me, is really important. Like, and I'm not dissing anybody who just puts songs out for the aspect of quantity.
Right.
But for me, it's very important for a song to be like, for it to have substance.
Right.
And for there to be a reason behind it. Like, to just drop a song. Like, I could drop 10 songs in a month, but maybe you haven't even heard the first one yet.
Right.
So it's like, it's kind of about how you promote it. And that's why I like something that has a story to it, because then it's like, I can use that story to kind of tell people about the song and like let them know about the message and where the song comes from, and they can relate with it too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, that's good, because like I said, we've been listening to it, obviously, even after 905 Fest. Danielle, my girlfriend, she grew up in the North End. So when we see your videos, we're like, hey, we know that spot. No, man, you do really good work, and I mean, we're gonna definitely keep listening. We're gonna keep watching what you're doing. I mean, obviously, it's nice because Instagram, you're always posting. All the people that you work with or that work with you are always posting and stuff like that. So it's nice to see that community involvement and everything that you're doing. So this is kind of why I wanted to talk to you, just because, you know, with the podcast, it's talking about people from Hamilton and trying to promote Hamilton in any way, whether it's someone like you who's an artist or a friend that I've just, you know, wanted to talk to. So you're doing really good stuff, and yeah, however I can help out, yeah, just shoot me a message, let me know. Oh, what happened there?
Sorry, my phone just rang.
Oh,
for a second. Sorry.
I was like, hey, there's the microphone. But yeah, so what else can we say? Okay, well, let's end it here, but how can people help out some of the places that you're helping out, like the Living Rock?
Yeah, no, if you're interested in helping out the Living Rock, you can check out their Instagram at Living Rock Youth Resources, or even on Google, and check it out. And you know what I mean? It's no problem. They love to receive donations to their food bank, and they don't just take food. They take clothes and toiletries and other items. You can connect with them. Living Rock is a great place for resources too, if you're someone that needs that type of resource and needs help. And they don't just help youth; they help people from the ages of 13 to 26.
Okay.
So it's not just like you could be 24 and need that help, and they'll still give you a hand. It's a great place, and they have lots of resources.
So you're cut off then, eh?
Yeah, I am cut off. Now that I'm 26 years old, I'm right at that cusp. So I turned 27 in October. So I have.
Oh, do you? Nice. What do you got planned for your birthday?
Oh, I probably will work.
What? You're gonna be working?
Yeah, I worked last year on my birthday.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I worked till like 9 o'clock, but it was cool because my birthday's on Halloween.
Oh,
so
nice.
I get lots of free candy.
There you go.
Especially because I'm a UPS driver in my main time. That's
right?
My main job. Yeah. So I drive around for UPS. So I drive around and making a delivery. People are like, "Oh, you want some candy?" I'm like,
"It's my
damn
birthday."
Right. Damn right.
How long have you been working for UPS now?
Just over a year now. I started there in August of last year.
Okay, nice.
Yeah, not too long.
So where else can people reach out and help, or let people know where you are and what your work is?
Yeah, I'm KTriggs, right? So you can find me at freedomofspeechentertainment.com, and you can sign up for our newsletter there. You can find my social media there. So I would just tell everybody, go to freedomofspeechentertainment.com. It's exactly how it sounds, freedomofspeechent.com. I'm KTriggs. You'll see all my information there. Sign up for our newsletter. You can find out everything to do with 905 Fest, when we're looking for performers, vendors, volunteers, and everything to do with what KTriggs is up to with new music and new events.
Awesome. All right, Kevin, KTriggs, thanks so much for joining me, and we'll definitely keep in touch, and yeah, best of luck with everything, buddy.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate you, and thanks for letting me, come on and talk for a bit.
Oh, of course,
sorry about
man.
Bella here making some noise.
No, that's okay.
Difficult.
Should put her on screen.
She's a bit rowdy. Oh, you want to come say hi? Yeah,
come say hi.
Come say hello, Bella. Come on up.
Oh, she's a big dog. Holy moly. She's bigger than you.
She's only about 60 pounds. She's pretty small, actually.
All right, man. We'll catch up, and we'll talk to you soon.
All right, thanks again for having me. Have a great day, and remember, community over
competition. Awesome, buddy.
That's
all right. I'll talk to you soon.
Take it easy, buddy.
All right, guys, that was KTriggs joining me on the podcast. Thanks, Kev, for hanging out with me and filling me in on some of the stuff that you're working on. If you want to follow him, guys, I'm going to list all the stuff I can in the description. So click it and check him out. If you're watching this on YouTube, please like and subscribe. Let me know if you think I would like to talk to somebody. Give me a shout at voiceofthehammer@gmail.com. Other than that, guys, thank you so much for listening, and I'll catch you on the next episode. See ya.